guys.
Hey.
It is day 3.
Day 3.
And we had to bring it inside.
It got a little wet outside.
Got a little rainy today.
Yeah, but we'll get to what we did in just a minute.
Yes.
But first,
we need to go back again, because remember how I mentioned there might always be something that's going on at dinner? Well, last night's dinner was worth talking about.
It was amazing.
So last night was totally different from our first night. We went to a place called Asterio de Mimo.
De Mimos?
De Mimos?
Mimo's the owner of the restaurant.
Yes, and we were, shout out to my brother, because somebody had told him about this place, and so we went ahead and booked a reservation there. Totally different experience, but incredible dish of pasta and seafood, mussels and clams and prawns.
Yeah, we had the same thing. It was just too good to pass up.
It was too good to pass up. It was so good. And on the way out, we ended up talking to the couple that was sitting next to us who live in Australia. And by the time that conversation was over, Mike is now friends with Deb, her name's Deb, on Facebook, and they invited us to come to Melbourne.
We have another location to stay with somebody.
So Megsy, who we also know from Australia, don't worry, we're also coming to see you too.
Yes.
Okay, and then after that...
That was the next thing was the most important thing.
Yes, because Mike's been telling me about this since, well, we've started.
Since we got in town. Yeah. It's got to be about the gelato.
It's always been about the gelato, and his cousin Robin.
She did not lead us astray. She led us to a place called the Frigidarium.
Which apparently usually has a 1-hour line or more.
At least during the day. But here's a pro tip. If you go at night, you're talking 10 minutes. It was easy.
It was 9:30 at night, and we got into that place.
And what did you have?
Well,
she's not a big fan of ice cream, by the way. So it took a little...
Not true. It's just like soft serve. So the gelato thing actually would be something I would like. And so I did get a salted caramel gelato.
Well, I had to one-up that a little bit, because apparently when you make an order, it comes with 2 scoops, 2 different flavors. So I took that salted caramel, I raised her another scoop of chocolate,
and then
dipped the whole thing in dark chocolate on top of that. And it was amazing.
I think he really enjoyed that gelato.
It was so good.
A lot.
And that brings us to day 3. And if there was ever a day that we were going to stay inside because of the rain, today was that day. Why?
Because today we did the Vatican tour. And I'm going to be honest with you right now. This little thing we're doing right now, bringing you our recap, we shot this like 8 times right now. Because we're really struggling.
Easy.
It's not
There
easy.
was so much to see today.
So we really just want you to see what we saw.
We started the tour in the Vatican museums.
Yep.
And our tour guide,
Nicola,
took us through and explained so much of the history. In fact, he's an archaeology major locally here in Rome.
Yep.
And
he does this as a side job.
And he was giving us the stories about each of these works of art and the sculptures and Michelangelo.
Yeah, now we can't show you anything from inside the Sistine Chapel, so I think...
We weren't allowed to shoot any video or photographs.
And even everyone was supposed to be quiet, but nobody was being quiet. It was kind of strange. It was kind of strange.
And keep in mind that all of this history is continuing, as in just 2 days ago, they inaugurated a brand new pope. We stood in St. Peter's Square, where the chairs are still up.
The chairs are still there.
They just had the inauguration two days ago.
Yeah.
And we got to walk through the basilica.
Yeah.
And see all of the beautiful...
Yeah, we got to see where now the sainted Pope John Paul II, where they had taken his body from underneath the basilica, and now he's in
since he has achieved sainthood.
Yeah, a tomb, I guess, where you can walk up to it and say a prayer next to it, and there was so much to take in, and the Niccolo did such a great job of capturing all of that history in 3 hours.
3 hours.
And from there, I'll be honest, we didn't really, I mean, the weather kind of, dampened what we were going to do next. But it was appropriate that there wasn't really much else to do after that. So we just went to grab some food late in the day and stumbled upon another I don't know, another great little meal with where we met, and what we're going to call him Alexander the Great. And why did we think that, Mike?
Well, Alexander is the name of the owner of this cafe.
I think he might be the owner.
He certainly acted like the owner.
Certainly did act like it.
But yeah, he took us in, fed us well.
And then he brought me well, first off, we didn't even get a chance to say anything about what we wanted to drink, because first he asked us where we were from. And when we said Orlando, he was like, Orlando. And then he was like, sit down. And then he said, she gets this and he gets this. And I got what he calls an Alexander Spritz, because it's his own drink. At least that's what he said. What did it have in it? It had Prosecco, my favorite.
Lychee syrup.
Elderberry, and passion fruit. Yeah. And then Mike had a beer that was the biggest beer I've ever seen. I think it's the biggest glass I've ever seen of beer I've ever seen.
But it served its purpose well. It was good.
And from there, we made our way, back to the hotel, and not too much after that, we had another amazing dinner, another small local spot that my friend Rocky had told us about, and we booked it, and it's called, well, I think they say Pietro here, but it's called Pietro Valentini Restaurant, right?
Ristorante.
And it's owned by a husband and wife, and tonight we really got to see a woman in charge. Both restaurants that we've been to, it was all about men servers, men owners. But today it was about, and I wish I knew what her name was.
She ran the show.
She did run the show, and she let everyone know. But she was fantastic.
Yeah, the food was
a well-oiled machine. The sea bass was incredible.
Debbie had the sea bass. I had ossobuco, which was phenomenal.
He gave me a bite of that. But then the tiramisu. Can we just talk about the tiramisu?
To top it all off, we polished it off with the tiramisu, one of the classic Italian desserts that was just incredible.
All in all, though rainy, it was a memorable, special, notable day.
Overwhelming. An overwhelming day.
Yeah. I think that's the word that describes it.
There's a lot thrown at you in 3 hours. But you know what? It's not a bad way to finish out in Rome. This is our last day here. Tomorrow we board a train and we're heading south, heading to the Amalfi Coast.
So stay tuned, because we have so much more for you. Tomorrow's a transition day. So
not just a transition in location. I think there's going to be a transition in feel for this whole trip.
For sure. Things are about to get really different, and you're just going to have to stay tuned to see why.
Italy 2025 is
Here we go.